Welcome to The Preferred List, a podcast about the people behind the best wedding days. I'm James, a wedding filmmaker. I've spent years in the industry working alongside incredible vendors, and this show is all about the real conversations with the ones who make it happen. Whether you're a vendor or a couple, you'll get honest insight, good stories, and maybe a little inspiration along the way. Let's meet today's wedding vendor. Hey Tyler, how's it going?
Hey James, good. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you on. Tyler has been in the game a long time, and I'm very excited to dive into all things wedding video, which is something I love too. A little biased, but you know. Today we're filming here at Harmony Forge Inn, and Harmony Forge Inn is nestled into the rolling hills of Bellefonte, just 15 minutes away from Penn State. And it features a historic house built in 1795, a newly remodeled creekside lodge, and a rustic barn with some modern touches. And the owners here are fantastic. It really is a family that's kind of tackling this wedding venue thing, and they're just great people. Very excited to be here filming today. But we're here with Tyler of Strata Wedding Films, Strata Co. What do you know? You keep changing
Changing everything. Strata Wedding Films.
Strata Wedding Films.
Yeah.
Tyler is a good friend of mine, so also a little biased on his business and everything that he does. But I'm very excited to have you on. You've been in the game a long time, but just fill me in on where did this all start? What's the journey been like from when you started to now?
Yeah. So basically, I picked up a camera in high school, and it was like one of like four people. And then I started right after college. I started like filming my hunts. Like I'm big into outdoors and hunting and things like that, which is kind of where the branding comes from a little bit with the name. And so I started filming hunts, and we started making TV shows, getting sponsored on web series and stuff like that. And my cousin said, "Hey, you film your hunts. You're good to this stuff. Would you want to like just make a video for our wedding?" Yeah, sure, whatever. I'm in the wedding, but like I'll film it. Like
Yeah.
no big deal. So I enlist my brother to help, who he's kind of in the whole creative industry as well on another path, but he helps me out. And so I put this whole thing together back in 2012, I think.
That's crazy.
So like 13 years ago, like wedding films were just not a thing at that point, really. I mean,
Yeah, if you're not a wedding videographer, 2012 was a different time for wedding video.
yeah. So it was more like long form. Like no one was making highlight style films back then at all. And if they were, like $500 was a lot. And so like we made the film, put it out on Facebook. Even like back then, like the only place you could put it was Vimeo, right? So it was on Vimeo and on like actual DVDs.
Yeah.
And so
I do remember. Yeah, I do remember that DVD thing. That was a thing for a minute.
it was a thing for a minute, and it was awful. It sucked horrifically because you had to buy a burner.
Yeah.
They weren't in the laptops anymore. And so we put it, DVD, and then Blu-ray was a thing right after that, and then streaming became really big. But we put it out there, and everybody loved it. And from that, we booked two. So that one was free. My other one was 500. I think the next one I did like 7, maybe.
Yeah.
And then the year after that, I think I had like 5. And then it just started like just rolling out of control. And so I always like make a joke now, like I'm careful of what I do as favors because it ends up being my career because this is all I do now for a living
Yeah.
is, do business marketing and make wedding films. So I try to be careful with what I get myself into.
I know. I feel like if you're business minded, you can take any like random hobby or thing. And my wife's probably laughing if she's listening to this because I've said that
Yeah.
so many times. Like, oh, that'd be a good business, or that
Yeah.
would be fun to do. But no, you've been in it for a long time. Tell me a little bit, like, so you said it was long form for the people that aren't really in tune with like what that means versus like a highlight film. Like, what were your films like when you first started? Even those couple that next year where you were maybe more of like a business, like how different were those films?
Yeah. So I won't talk about much about my early days of business because the IRS will throw me in jail. But what you don't know, you don't know. But you learn as you go.
Yeah.
So when we first started out, I mean, they were highlight films because that's kind of my style. So like really a lot of my edits and stuff in school that I was practicing on, I'm a huge Penn State football fan. So I was taking like the hype videos for Penn State. Like that was my biggest thing. I was taking random clips from YouTube and cutting them to music and things like that. So like that was my thing. So I was one of the first ones in the area to really do highlight style films because I think their film was only like 7 or 8 minutes maybe,
Which is still kind
which
of
is
a
still
long
kind
film.
of
Yeah.
long, but it wasn't as involved as what these other ones were because, like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of doing it, and it,
Yeah.
it happened. But long form is kind of like where you just set the camera up and it's just you just deliver whatever happens, and it is what it is. But we were doing like prep, so we got shots of hair and makeup and things like that, and it was, I don't want to say cutting edge, but it was new. It
Yeah.
was new, and a lot of wedding planners were saying like, "Hey, this is really really good." And this is back when cameras didn't have stabilization. I think I shot my first wedding on a T3i, a Canon
Yeah.
Rebel
That's
T3i.
cameras have
Um,
come a long way for our
yeah,
sake.
yeah. So like there was no like stabilization, so it was all shaky. You're relying on, everything that just you're like locking in, like
Yeah.
elbows to ribs, like don't move, be a statue. Um, and it turned out good. But wedding planners were like, "How much?" And I would tell them like, "Oh, there's no way. No one
Yeah.
will ever pay that." It's like I look back at it
I
now
know.
and kind of
I
laugh.
know. It's so funny because it's even still. I mean, then it was definitely probably a commodity of like an extra ad, but I still feel like wedding video is kind of a last minute thing for a lot of couples. There are some that are seeking it out
Yeah.
first or close to first, but we're definitely not the given the guarantee
No.
in like the vendor
No,
space.
I always make the joke that like I'm usually used to be, not necessarily now, but like probably like 3 years ago, like I was after the porta potty. You know what I mean? Like we have the venue, we got a photographer, we got a caterer, we have everything else. We have the porta potty because our wedding's outside. There's nowhere for bathroom for our guests. Oh, and
Oh,
we want a
together.
videographer.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a great take.
So I mean, it just used to be that way, and
Yeah,
now we changed branding and we changed things and we elevated the films and things over the years.
yeah,
Now it's, hey, they have their venue, they have their photographer, which of course that's fine. If someone comes to me before a photographer, I'm extremely excited about
yeah.
it.
I
You know what
know.
I mean? It
Yeah,
happens not frequently, but like maybe once a year. But I'm usually, I don't know. Now we're in like the top 3 or 4 of the list of things that people want.
yeah.
So
Tell me more about like the difference in your films now from when you started. It's like what's changed? What are you like focused on now? And like maybe it's some of the capture day of working with the couples, or maybe something like editing wise that's changed over time.
I think a lot of it has to just do with how, like, prep used to be a really big part of the day. And now couples are kind of getting away from it a little bit. And at first I was offended because you can get a lot of really cool shots during
Yeah,
that. But at the same time, like how many times can you
show the same
film
thing.
a piece of hair getting curled and just
Yeah,
like, all right, well, we've filmed all of her extensions being curled. Now we don't necessarily do this much. And the prep side of things in an 8 to 10 minute film or something like that is only maybe 45 seconds of the whole thing, and the groom's maybe only 30 seconds because
yeah,
there's way less going on. So the films move a little bit faster, because we're trying to fit a lot of things in. But I would say like they're definitely not as drawn out as they used to be. Um,
I'd have to agree with that.
it used to just be like you live on it and you sit there and you watch the same thing happening. But like when we film, we're only filming like 2 or 3 seconds at a time during prep. Now that all obviously changes during the ceremony, but
Yeah,
um, we film in short clips. And when couples get our raw footage and stuff, and they look back at it, like, how did you even
get
make
all of
anything
that.
out of
Yeah,
this? Like, it's just clips. It's just that's how you have to shoot because you can't sit there and go there. You'll blow through cards, you blow through batteries. So you have to kind of adapt, and you have to adapt with couples too, because it used to be we want the whole thing, we want our ceremony, we want everything, and now it's like people are like we don't want to watch an hour of ourselves.
uh,
Like 5 minutes is fine.
yeah,
So you just kind of gotta go with it. Like things have just as the industry has changed, I've found that like our work changes, and I try to stay on top of things, but as I get older, I kind of get a little bit more no, like
I want to
old man,
stay true to
yeah,
like
stay true
yeah.
to the thing. But with content creation stuff coming in, like you have to adapt with that. And vertical, like I haven't shot a wedding vertically yet, but I'm sure that it's probably coming at some point.
Yeah, I would have there
That'd be tough.
um I just saw a thing about like content creators like setting up a tripod for something like a ceremony, and it's like how much similar? Is it just like an iPhone videographer in a way?
Yeah. I mean, we have content creation. It's one of the services that we have, but it's more clips. It's not, and I've already said because we also do
Yeah,
films,
it's very different.
I'm like, hey, we're not. And I
Yeah.
had this conversation like I didn't cover this with my content creator um back when we first started doing this like last year, and we were one of the first wedding film companies in anywhere to add content creation. And now it's like they're everywhere. But when we started, the content creator I sent out, she did exactly that for the ceremony for them, and she got back and I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Like we have films, so now we say like, hey, listen, this is not a substitute for a videographer per se. Some people use it as such because that's
Yeah.
kind of what they care about. But like we have films, we have full ceremony films. We don't do that in content creation anymore. So if that's what you're looking for your content creator to do, choose somebody else because
Someone
that's not
else,
us.
yeah.
But we're more into like making the reels and photos and things like that, and little clips that you can have and make your own stuff out of. But the industry has changed so much in 2 years, like a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's people are changing and like what they want is very different. Like you were saying,
Yeah,
um, it's very different because I remember my first couple of films was like everything was slow motion, like you said, very drawn out. We probably had similar,
yeah. I mean, I do a lot of slow motion.
but just drawn out slow motion. Not even just like showing a pretty clip
Oh yeah,
slow. It's just
yeah,
like you're sitting on something for like way too long.
yeah. I mean, I've done it where I'm like, all right, I need 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's just slow motion this
Yeah.
grass for
Just a
five
little
seconds
longer.
just
Yeah.
to be able to make it work. Yeah, no, I feel that.
In those early years where you kind of had a wedding here, a wedding there. You put your first wedding out, and people started to kind of like buzz and ask about it. Was there like a defining moment where you're like, oh, I could actually take this from, just doing a couple weddings for $500 to like a full-fledged business and like being, I mean, you've been in business for so long too. Like,
Yeah.
was there a defining moment in any of that at the beginning?
I guess when I started to see wedding films kind of take off and become a thing, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, I'm doing this already. And then look at what people were charging. I was like, really? Okay. Like I was catching crap for $500, but if we're gonna go to $1,000 land, like let's go.
Yeah.
And so it just turned into at that point, I was like, let's see how high I can take this thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'd raise a price, someone would book it, two people would book it. All right, we're gonna go up more until for the longest time I was anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000, and I was just like, okay. I had a full time job. I didn't really. It was extra money. I
Yeah.
wasn't married at the time or anything like that. It was just let's pay off some debt or let's have some fun with this money,
Yeah.
uh,
Or buy new stuff.
or buy new stuff. It was mostly buy new stuff.
Yeah, I literally
It
my
was
business was
yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, this lens looks really cool, but I need to make some money to buy."
yeah. So that's the hardest part. And I try to do equipment cycles like every 3 to 5 years. But um, once we hit that $3,000 mark, then it kind of turned into okay, what else could we do with this to maximize a our profit, b couples experience, and then like C our time, right?
Mhm.
So we kind of looked at a couple different things, and we got lucky and were able to travel um, to a couple different places for some weddings, and it was cool. Um, but then once I started looking like, oh, I'm working full time and doing 10 weddings a year. One year I think I did 14 while working full
That's
time,
crazy.
and but at that point I had nothing really else going on. Like I think at that point I think I was married with a kid. I think my son was like newborn that year. So like I had a newborn, I was working full time. I did like 14 weddings. It was busy.
Yeah.
Um but that was what kind of opened my eyes and was like I could really take this to scale. Like I was looking at my money and I'm like cuz I do business things too. I don't just do weddings. So
Yeah.
I'm like at scale, if I go full time with this, I can make more than what I'm making working for somebody else. And that was kind of where in 2019 I kind of went I'm done and left full time salary job. And so now, we just do marketing and weddings. And I think we try to do 8 to 10 now.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a comfortable number.
Yeah, 14, I mean, 14 in a full-time job,
Yeah.
I mean, that I can't even wrap my mind
I know
around that.
photographers that do 36 weddings.
Yeah. But
but don't work full time.
yeah, I was gonna say.
But they're doing 36 weddings, newborns, portrait sessions, everything
Yeah,
else. And like, I won't throw them under the bus, but they're very good friends of mine. I was like, how do you girls function? She's like, we don't.
we don't. Yeah, probably lots of coffee
Lots
and
of coffee. But yeah, and I think that that's changed too. Like just this past weekend, I was working with a really good photographer friend, and they're looking at, scaling down to like, it's just crazy, but they still, I think her husband works
okay.
full time. So it's, and with me with kids now, I got two kids. I coach little league and flag football, like full fledged dad mode, and it's 8 to 10 still hard.
Yeah,
It's still hard.
yeah, because it does take up the weekends, and what I'm hearing a lot from family oriented videographers or just vendors, it's like a lot of that like kid stuff happens on the weekend.
It's tough.
And then it's like, oh wait, now it's a little different with like you got the whole week sort of
Yeah.
to yourself to work and whatnot. But
I mean, I was getting text message updates of my son's flag football game, like, oh, they're scored this touchdown, because I work with like the receivers and stuff and
yeah,
on flag, and like we were just killing them through the air, and so it makes you happy because you're like, man, I wish I was there to
those
see
shows there,
this.
yeah,
So it makes it tough, and then like during the week, films don't take. It's not like I'm sitting down for 10 minutes and spinning out, or throwing our films into AI and they're just spitting out your wedding film. Like it's
yeah, they don't do that.
not yet. I'm praying for the day, but
Have you
it
checked out Plotline?
I've not. But
It's
they should sponsor this podcast since we now talked about it.
yeah, it's pretty cool. AI. So for me with video and AI, there's still an element, even if like Plotline can pull story pieces from long form content, basically. So like speech, it can pull stuff like, hey, this is a impactful moment, this or that. It can order it, but there's still like, I don't know that there's gonna be something soon where you can just like have everything from a wedding and pop out
A final edit.
an emotionally driven story,
Yeah.
like where it's like really a good film.
Yeah, I think the one, and you could look at it as a perk, and you could look at it as a downside, but I think that the human element will never go away from video. I don't see that happening
Still have the
anytime soon.
capture. I mean, like you have to be there day of and do a good job
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
get
I mean,
the
if you
stuff.
suck at filming,
Your films are gonna
the
kind of suck.
the film is not going to be good.
Yeah,
So, that's kind of where a lot of the pricing for us comes in. Is we know what we're doing. We're not in there just bumbling around.
yeah,
I don't even ask for as many details anymore. We do our consultation calls, and I'm like, what time do I need to be there?
yeah,
What I try to do, and you can steal this if you don't do it already, but I say, when's your dance floor opening? All right, let's go an hour past that, and then we'll count backwards. And that's when I need to start filming. So if they get an 8 hour package and the dance floor opens at 7, okay, we're gonna film 7 to 8 open dancing, and after an hour, I'm ready to,
yeah.
leave.
It does sort
So
of get a little monotonous, but it is
it's always the
fun.
same group of people dancing
Yeah,
typically. So like an hour is pretty much decent enough for a film, right? Unless they got like raw footage and they want me there all night, they're doing a sparkler exit, then fine. But typically, I say, okay, dance opens at 7, we go to 8. You got an 8 hour package, backwards to noon. That's when I start, and then I show up an hour early, because I don't know if some videographers do that. I know some photographers do it because they don't show up with anything but a camera. They can show up and start taking photos, where I'm like, well, I've got 9 boxes, a cart,
yeah,
the mule that I brought everything in with. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I've had vendors or venues be like, wow, why do you bring so much stuff?
It's like we need all the
We need
stuff.
all of it. We need all of it. And then, I mean, when you see the films, it makes sense. But
Yeah,
like, I show up an hour early on my own time just to make sure. I'm paying my second shooter for that hour, but
yeah.
I'm donating it, because I don't want my films to suck. I
It
don't
is,
want to
dude.
know where the outlets
Beginning,
are.
yeah, the beginning of the day, like
Yeah,
it can really throw you for a loop and get you totally off your game if you're not getting there and getting yourself
yeah.
situated.
Because you could show up and the bride could be like, "Oh, hey, by the way, we're an hour behind on hair," and you're like, "Oh
Oh.
man, okay." So I'll take my time getting things set up, because whatever. But then you also have to remember, like, that photographer is going to probably show up and be in sprint mode to get everything caught back up, and you got to be ready for it.
Yeah,
And one of the hardest things, if you've never been to certain venues, is knowing where's the power at. Because I have a battery powered light, and I'll probably get another one to avoid all of those issues. But take it in. Where's the angles going to be? Where's the ceremony set up?
Yeah.
You help visualize.
Even like a chance to fly your drone, get the establishers.
I try to, so what I try to do is I try to get there an hour early. I figure load in, get all my stuff situated, check with the bride, say hi, all that other stuff. 45 minutes. And then I'll fly for 15 to 20 minutes. I don't even charge for drone.
I don't either.
I think the videographers that charge for drone are bad people. I will
It's literally
say
fun to fly. I don't understand. I mean,
it's
I get like having it listed in your package just because it looks good,
right. And people want it.
but
People
just
know.
put it in there.
But like it takes my take on it is it takes me 15 minutes
Yeah.
to fly the drone at the venue. I'm probably not going to fly it during the ceremony because that's obnoxious.
I've done it a
Unless,
couple times and the sound is obnoxious,
yeah,
but the shot is always so
it
epic.
is good. But like,
Do you want to
I
hear like,
I can't be everywhere. I can't do everything. But like I don't charge for it because like I said, it's 15 minutes. And then God forbid if make them pay for it. And then on the day of it rains, I can't fly it.
yeah,
Now post wedding, now I got to refund money and it's a mess.
yeah,
So I just do it. So you build it in, you get there, you do your load in and check everything out. And then when my second shooter shows up, if they don't show up with me, I'm saying, hey, you go get the details. The guys aren't showing up for another hour. You've got an hour to go grab details outside, get everything, establishers, all that other stuff. Everything else is done. I'm gonna be with the bride because that's so like fluid. Like you never know what's gonna happen there. Like
oh
they
yeah,
could be ahead, they could be behind, they could be usually behind. But like I always
yeah.
tell brides, like you're gonna be behind. Don't worry about it. It's
Don't
gonna
worry, it's
happen.
gonna happen. Yeah,
It's fine. But like we can usually build it. Like catch up a half hour worth of stuff in like 10 minutes. Like
yeah,
it doesn't take long to move through things. It's just how fast you do it. That's kind of our flow on the day of though.
yeah. No, I think couples that are listening, I would think that they would appreciate a videographer that has that mindset of like, I'm going to show up early before the contracted time, even. And you're paying a second shooter to do the same. But the days that I feel most flustered are the ones that start quick and I don't feel like I have enough time to get my footing day of. But it always comes back around and
Yeah.
comes together.
Yeah. And I mean, this will be we're going on what, year 13. I told myself I would want to do 15 years. I want to do wedding films for 15 years and then I will probably get out. Because by then the kids are going to be like super old. You know what I mean? Like we're going to be like into actual school sports, not
Yeah,
just like AYSO and little
the
league stuff.
fun.
Like it'll
Yeah,
be like the real stuff. Um, and so I have a couple more years left under my belt, but like since I've been doing it for so long, you see certain things from other videographers, and you're like 6 hours.
yeah,
You're gonna start a package, like you said, you feel rushed. So I always tell couples, like they're like, "Hey, do you have any tips for us? We're still in the looking process. This is great, but we still have a couple calls lined up that we don't want to cancel on them. We want to give them the chance to do their thing." And I'm like, look out for people that charge for drones. Look out for people that say our packages are 6 hours because you can't create anything in 6 hours. It's impossible. I said, so they're probably going to charge you an arm and a leg for extra hours to get you up to that 8 anyway, because that's what they want. And if they're doing 6 hours and they're handing you just a highlight film with no dialogue, no nothing. It's just straightforward. I said, so always be careful with those things. And I've had couples come back and like ask me questions. Hey, what do you think about this person's work? Like, all right, I'll give you honest feedback.
yeah,
And sometimes I'm like, hey, it's really good,
yeah,
but be careful of their package structure. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't care if people book with me. I don't want that to sound bad. But like, if someone else fits their budget, if someone else fits their style, awesome. Congratulations. Like, that's
yeah. You
cool.
found a good fit.
That's cool. Great. If I can help in any way and make sure that that's an educated decision and they get the best of what, their budget allows or whatever, I'm cool with that too. If you book me, even better. But it's like, I'm only doing 8 to 10. So it's like, it's okay.
Yeah,
But I want to make sure that like people aren't, because there's scammy people out there.
yeah. Well, it sounds like you have a similar take on it that I do. It's like I just want couples to get a wedding videographer
Yeah,
because I do think the video is worth it, and
for sure.
whether they watch it 10 times or 100 times
Yeah.
or 1,000 times or share it with everyone or just keep it to themselves, like I think that memory is worth it. But I'm like, just find someone that
Find someone
works.
that's good.
Yeah,
Like for your money.
And you're gonna get what you see.
Yeah.
If you're seeing something a certain way, it's gonna be that way in your film, most likely.
Yeah, you have to be careful. You really do, because I don't know, we dealt with with some things with people trying to steal our brand. I don't know if you remember that whole
Yeah.
conversation. Um, I mean, if you Google wedding videographer, we probably show up somewhere, no matter where you're at in, America. And we had someone try to steal the brand, and we did this whole. I turned into detective mode, and I called and everything else. We got it, and they were literally offering photo and video for like, I think it was like $1,200.
Yeah.
I'm like, there is no way. And people were paying it in full upfront, but they weren't getting their money back. They were out money. No one showed up to their wedding. The one girl, and then I got a review because it was my fault,
I
right?
didn't realize that they went that far with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I got a review. I reached out to her and I was like, hey, listen, like this isn't even my company. I don't have no idea who you are. And then she ended up being like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. She went back in and removed it. But yeah, like it turned into this whole thing. Like I contacted like Colorado state government, everything else, and they were like, there's nothing we can do. Like you're lying. Like you still want to.
Yeah.
But we ended up really reaching out to like all of the different vendor boards and things like Zola and every like Wedding Wire and stuff, and reached out to them, and they ended up doing their own little research based on the data that we gave them, and they kicked them off.
Oh,
So they
nice.
totally removed them, and they finally took their website down and everything else. So we don't deal with it anymore. But like that was a scam. But there's people out there, there's companies out there that's what they do. They're all about like quantity. Like
Yeah.
they'll book a million weddings in a year, and then subcontract to a bunch of freelancers.
You just never know who you're gonna
You never know
get.
who you're gonna get, and it's like you get, that company might make $400 per wedding, but they didn't go. They don't care. And if they're booking 50 to 60 a year,
They're making their money
they're
that way.
making their money that way and they
Yeah.
don't care. And they might run multiple of those. So I'm salty about the whole thing because I think it's ridiculous. But people pay for it, and if it works, it works. But at the end of the day, I think that having a good connection with your videographer is important. Having
With the person
like-minded,
that's actually gonna be there
the
too.
person's actually going to be there.
I'd love to talk more about the like the actual storytelling process that you have. So like obviously there's a lot that goes in, not obviously. Maybe people listening or watching don't know, but there's a lot that goes into a good wedding film, and some of that is day of capture, doing a good job, getting what you need to get. And maybe there's some pieces in there that would be helpful for couples to hear about. But I'd love to know like when you get back, like what are you looking for? How are you like crafting a super good story in your films?
So during the day of, and that's why it's important for me to be there. Um, and I'm listening all day long for themes, um, listening for just cinematic points. For instance, just back a month ago, we filmed a wedding, and the, the stage was pretty much set. It was a beautiful location. The couple had a beautiful story, and their officiant had a British accent. And I was like, this guy is like Morgan Freeman of voices
Yeah,
for wedding films.
you just
And
can't beat it.
we were just randomly going through. And at that point, I was checking cameras or whatever. And he's going through and doing a prayer and, a couple little other bits there. And he says, uh, your adventure has just begun. And I was like, bingo, like
Yeah,
that's
that's what we need.
that's that's my point. And so they had, based upon their story, and I try to figure out what the couple's like story is, like their engagement, how they met, that kind of thing. And usually our couples have a pretty good story. And like for this couple, he lived in California, she lived in Pennsylvania, they met online, and so they like to go on adventures. So this was at a state park, and so we're gonna build their film. I haven't even started it yet. We're gonna build their film around like
That idea.
cinematic beauty, adventure, cinematic shots of them, that kind of thing. And so we just listen for those kinds of things. Sometimes it's more religious based, and we listen for themes with that. We'll build around, the story of their love for Jesus and things like that, which are really cool. I love when we get to do religious weddings because it's a different a different feel than just
Yeah.
like in and out and quick and happy and let's dance and get wasted at the party. It's different, and they're very sentimental, and you can usually build a really good cinematic film around that. And so
Yeah.
we try to market that. But when we build our stories out, like I said, we're listening for themes, and we will literally intentionally try to find things that work with that. And so we'll also be trying to figure out like music.
Okay.
So during the day, I'm listening to what's the bride listening to while they're getting ready. Like we've we've been surprised. Anything from like pretty rough rap music to like country music, or we've been surprised even like heavy metal. And like obviously I'm not going to use that in their film, but it gives me an idea on personality. And
Yeah.
we usually meet a couple times, and it really helps us kind of blend their love story, the dialogue through the day. Because even if they write like their own vows and have custom vows, we really dive into those big time. And then like letters. So sometimes we get really lucky and we have a good efficient.
Yeah.
They have letters at the beginning of the day, and they do their own vows. And it's like, I have a lot to choose from,
Yeah.
But usually in there, there's a theme. And so a lot of videographers, I don't think look for themes. I think they just look for things that sound good. And I think a lot of times it could just be kind of a mixed bag of really good one liners. And that's fine if you're doing like a 4 to 5 minute quick little
Yeah.
film. But like 6 to 8, 8 to 10s,
You need a little bit more to keep it
you need something to let it
interesting and yeah.
flow and everything else, because there's not a lot of dialogue gaps in my films.
Okay.
So
It's pretty heavy. Like you're hearing a lot of story
a
throughout the whole
lot of
thing.
story throughout the whole thing. We might, if I have lack of story, you'll hear, and I don't want to say lack of story, but like lack of like sound bites for theme and things like that. And maybe it is just, hey, we didn't write letters, we don't have our own custom vows, and the officiant had a couple good spots, and we're gonna leave them for the ceremony or something to lead in. But you always feel like you're on some sort of like journey with our films. So you're taken from the beginning of the day sections through. I don't do any of the whole time shifting. I'm very much chronological in that sense. Like I want you to feel like you're at the beginning of your day and the end of your day. And
Yeah.
in there in between, I do a little bit of back and forth of things, but you're never gonna see, I want to say not never, but 90% of the time, you're not gonna see anything from a reception toast at the beginning of the film.
Okay.
So
So
you might
it's a lot more like chronological.
yeah, I try to, because a lot of my background is like broadcast. So in college, it was a lot of like broadcast video. Um, Outdoor stuff was telling the story at the beginning to the end of that outdoor adventure. So there are people that can time shift and they do it well. It's awesome. Like I applaud you,
It's just
because
not your
it's
style.
hard. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It is, and it's just chronological. I think when we look at our style, we're trying to tell that story. Um, we try to tie things in. So unless something that's said in the reception really ties together with something that's like you have no choice but to do that, then we will time shift and we'll throw that around. But they take longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
longer.
I think I enjoy more of a mixed bag approach, and every time I do it, Christina, my wife's like, "Why are you showing this right now? I'm not there in my mind." So I get it. But I think it harkens back to what I said before too, is like if you see a chronological approach to a story from a wedding videographer, that's likely what you're gonna get from your film.
Yep.
And I think there's couples that, like you said, they're gonna enjoy that style, that approach. There's gonna be couples that just want like complete mishmash, like you're seeing everything all flashy and
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. And then there's one videographer that I follow, that she's from Pittsburgh, and she has a very fun style. Her stuff is very, very creative, very flashy. It's almost like sometimes I see it, I'm like, "Wow, I wish I could kind of be
Yeah,
that flashy." And we could, but it's just not like if I throw in a random wedding like that, like it just doesn't
they'd be
feel
like, "Wait, what?"
genuine. So
Yeah,
it would kind of be like, what is that? Um, so a lot of ours it's very sentimental, story driven, cinematic, just pieces, and it people that enjoy that style really enjoy what they get out of it.
yeah. What would you say is like an underrated piece of gear or equipment that every wedding videographer should have in their kit?
I would say Underrated would be a third mic.
So you're kind of putting it out there that it's common for maybe a videographer to have like two.
It would be common for most people to have two, or even just one or none, and tying into a DJ or the band or whatever for the ceremony. This is specifically for the ceremony. I guess I
Okay.
should clarify.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But having a third mic that you can put in the bride's dress is invaluable. And we've been doing that for like 3 years. I'm giving away secrets. But
Yeah. We do it too. So you should mic your bride
uh but yeah,
if they're down
having
for it. If they're down for it. Some.
we push it pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Unless the dress just does not allow for it. And sometimes we find that like we've done the one that we left out. The bride didn't want it. She was really up against it, um, because of the dress, and we tried it, and she was like, "No, it's uncomfortable." And I was like, "You weren't gonna do it from the beginning anyway."
Yeah.
So we
Which
didn't
is
do it in
fine.
that one.
It's
It's
fine.
cool. I
Yeah.
don't care. It's your wedding day, but I let her know like, "Hey, listen,
Yeah. There's
it's
gonna be some.
there's a possibility, you
Yeah.
know." Um, but being able to throw the bride mic in there, unless this dress is like super see through and there's really nowhere for that cord to go, we always try to push it just because we've been saved by it,
Yeah.
especially outside or in Catholic ceremonies. Big time,
Yeah.
big time, big time. Because you're like 9 miles away from each other sometimes
Well, and it's
from the officiant.
it's a built-in backup too. If something
Yeah.
happens with the groom mic, and
Yep.
often they're close-ish,
Hmm.
if something does happen to the groom mic, you have that there.
Yeah. And I think from a technical standpoint, I mean, we always really cut our teeth on just like the groom mic. And then
Yeah.
as money came in, we bought the officiant mic. Never really thought about the bride until I was like, what if I could mic the bride? So I did a little research and found some other people that were doing it. And I thought, perfect. So we started doing it. And the one time that we got really saved, the first time we got saved, the groom mic was trash. The efficient mic was trash. We were out on the top of a hill. You were with me, and I'll say this story.
Oh, really?
You were with me. It was a wedding we filmed in Mill Hall at a family property on a
Oh, yeah,
farm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was one of the first ones I think you filmed with me.
I think that was the first one.
And I mic'd the dress, and it was windy as all could be that day. And all the other mics were awful. The DJ mic was even bad. And the bride mic, because it was inside the dress, it acted as a natural windscreen,
Yeah.
and everybody's audio on it was crystal clear. And from there on out, I was like, "That's it.
Like, I
It
have to do it.
solidified me. We're gonna do it for everything." And
Were
so
you already gonna do it that day?
it was the first. She was the first bride we
Yeah.
did it with, and I was like, "Thank you, Jesus." Like this is
Yeah.
like.
Oh my gosh.
So it was the perfect setup. But yeah, that's completely underrated. And also, from an editing standpoint, as a brides, I think that is helpful for them. What we just kind of said is getting making sure that their audio is like perfect.
Yeah.
Because you can have really good visuals in a film, but if the audio sounds like you're talking through a tin can,
Yeah.
the whole thing sucks. I don't care how pretty it is.
Yep.
But from an editing standpoint for other videographers, you can then take that bride audio on a track and like EQ it, and it's perfect the whole way through. You don't have to go through and then clip her out of groom mic or efficient mic.
And then you don't hear the like whatever the groom's doing. Like
Yeah.
if he.
Yeah, while you're trying to listen to her audio and he's
Right,
sniffling
yeah.
because he's bawling, you don't have to worry about that cutting things off because you can just turn him down and he's out.
And it's just her. Yeah.
So
I agree. That's a great take. I agree
that's
wholeheartedly.
my one. Number two, if we have to have a B, it would be a battery powered light. Back, I don't know, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, people were trying to be like, we don't use lights and we're tough, and
Yeah.
our cameras are super bright. I think it was the A7S was like first coming out. We use Sony's and we don't need lights.
Probably the A7S II was like the thing at the point.
And everybody's like, we don't use lights. And I was like, okay, we don't use lights. We're not gonna use lights. And I'm on a Canon.
Yeah.
Which
I was too.
it was rough.
It was very rough.
It was rough. But now it's like, if you don't use lights, like it looks like crap.
Yeah.
And that's just the
Well, you
truth to
have
it.
like all this natural light the entire day, and then you get in, and I just said this to a couple yesterday for a meeting. Well, yesterday, I don't know when this is going out, but
The other day.
um, I was like, it looks amazing to your eye, like you seeing it visually with the candle lights or the twinkly lights or the chandeliers. It all looks so good, but when we put our cameras up, it's not the human eye,
Mm-mm.
and it goes like dark dungy really fast if
Real
there's not
fast. Yeah.
some light in there.
Yeah. And I think having the battery light, like I said earlier, getting in and trying to find the outlets and stuff, like it's okay to plug one in. I'll probably get around to buying another battery light because it just makes it easy.
Yeah, you should
And
get that one.
I'm gonna plug. I'm gonna
It's
plug.
plugged in now because we're filming, but
I'm gonna say that Amaran should sponsor me.
see, you personally,
Me personally.
what do you do for work? I'm sponsored. What do
Yeah.
you mean? No,
So,
I'm just sponsored.
I mean, that's all that I use, and it's great because I can Bluetooth. I mean, it probably looks bad during weddings because I'm on my phone,
Yeah,
but I'm able to
and then
control
like lights are
my.
just like shooting off. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, just this past weekend, Tate was doing a video booth. I don't know if you've the couples video booth,
Yeah.
and I was trying to adjust the light inside, but I couldn't remember which one was which, and so he's outside filming people on this video booth with a wireless light. And I'm doing this, and this light's not. I'm like, what
Why
the
is this not
heck is
working? I was
going
like,
on?
doo,
This
doo,
isn't
doo, doo.
working. And I'm looking outside, and his light's going on and off. And I was like, oh crap!
Oh,
So I had to turn it
sorry.
back on, and I finally got it figured out. But it's nice to be able to dial that in one time, and then just on and off, and you can adjust your color and everything else on the fly. And so we just use the Amaran 60. I think it's the X now.
Yeah,
It's a
the
bicolor X.
bicolor. Yeah,
I use that in their 100, which I have to plug in if they can make a battery powered 100.
it's
Is
not Amaran, but
But then I can't use it because I'm counting on this sponsorship. I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking at you,
sure.
Amaran.
You heard it here first.
I'm looking for that.
Well, so we're gonna be sponsored by two people. Plotline and
Yeah, I
just
will.
raking in the sponsorships.
Yeah,
on
we'll
our
take that
not sponsored
because
podcast.
I think my films deserve it.
Yeah, your
But
couples deserve it.
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sponsorship. I can lower the prices if you sponsor me. But I think
A whole business plan just got developed.
everything just shifted. But I think no, seriously, I think that the having a wireless battery powered
Yeah.
light is different because you're not tied down to an outlet. You can move things
You can literally
around
put it anywhere.
anywhere because you're able to take it. And honestly, I was worried about battery life at first.
Mm,
But like it runs on two of like those Sony bricks. Like they are like
the NPF.
they're huge.
Yeah.
And I didn't even buy the Sony ones. They're just Watson batteries and they
Yeah.
work just fine. Um they literally last me an entire reception.
Yeah.
Like it's perfect. So you can move it anywhere you need to.
And I will say, if you're if you're a videographer and you're listening, you don't use lights. I've asked every single couple in our pre-wedding day, like final planning meeting. I'm like, hey, this is what we do. Is that okay? I have not had a single couple say anything. The only time I've had a guest come up to me and say, no one's dancing because your lights are on. And I said, okay, would you like me to turn them off? And they said, yeah. And then I went on my walkie-talkie and I was like, it's not my lights. Because I turned them off and no one danced. But I've never had a couple after the explanation. The last thing I want is like for them to look over and not know that I'm doing it. But I've never had a couple be like, "What? No, I don't want the lights."
Yeah. It
Because it helps so much.
it does. And it if you know I'll add this in here. If you know what you're doing with light, that makes a difference.
True.
Not just throwing it out there and blasting everybody's eyeballs.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing with light and you're going to shape the couple with light and make them look their best, anything that's going to help the couple look their best on their wedding day, they're going to be like, absolutely.
Right.
So, that helps and it makes the film look better. It gives you more options. You can get creative with it. Use a little lens flare out of the corner if you want to do something cinematic during their first dance. But also like anything like Bluetooth is becoming a big part of my life. I don't want to say that I'm lazy.
But it's up in the. It's like 10
It's
feet up, and
It's 10 feet up.
you can make adjustments.
I'm also 35 and I am lazy.
Back,
And that's why I don't
back's hurting
solo
a little
shoot
bit.
anymore. People are like, can you, like, if we cut out the second videographer, will that put the price down? I said, absolutely, it'll put the price down. I said, I won't come at all
Yeah.
because I don't do it like I used to. But
What would your
it's rough.
what would your advice be for couples like to get the most out of their wedding videographer? Like what could they do? What questions could they ask? Or like how can they get the most out of their wedding videographer?
I guess just knowing, educate yourself on what is in a good videography package. I guess see what most people do for the most part. And then if you find that one that doesn't, and you like kind of question, well, why don't you do this? Ask questions is probably the biggest thing. Like educate yourself on what a lot of people are doing. Look around at a lot of different places. Don't just go to websites and fill out inquiry forms,
Yeah.
right? Go to websites, look at prices as much as you possibly can if they have them listed,
Yeah.
if they have them listed, and look at packages if they have any kind of anything listed, and then just kind of notate that, like, what are, maybe look at 10 different places and then go back and say, okay, this is what this person had, they had these, this is a common thing we're seeing, and then go back through and fill out inquiry forms. We have a thing that kind of tracks people when they come on our site, and we see like more, I want to say the more return visitors we see, we tend to book them
Gotcha.
versus people that just show up for the first time, photo form,
Yeah.
they're gone. Sometimes we don't even hear from them. They will
Right.
photo form, like, hey, we have your date available, and then it's like, did you die? Like, where did you go?
Where'd you go?
It's a huge pet peeve, but that my biggest thing I think is to ask questions, because you're never going to regret being the best informed about all your vendors on your wedding day.
Yeah.
I think that that's the biggest thing. A lot of people come in and, oh, it looks pretty, sounds great,
Yeah.
prices at our budget, awesome, and then
It
you
always
get
is a
something
little
different.
concerning when they don't have questions. And it's not a
Yeah,
bad thing to
no,
not have questions, but it's like, do you know everything?
yeah,
I'm hoping that, and it's I also, as you're sitting there saying all this, I'm like, how many times have I had a couple inquire, I get on a call with them because that's our process, and I'm
same,
like, have you had a chance to watch any of our films yet?
no,
They're like, no, I just saw an Instagram post one time, and you have to see a full film because that's
yeah,
where you see, like that's what you're gonna get from us is what's out there.
yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to people are just in a hurry, and don't be. I think that when you're spending the kind of money that we charge,
Yeah.
I think that it's important to be super, inquisitive and come with a lot of questions. A lot of times I hear, since I've been doing it for so long, a lot of times I hear, "Nope, you nailed everything." Like, she's like, literally, I had one bride. She held up a list of questions. They were all crossed off. I hit them all
Oh,
during the
nice.
consult,
Just off
just
your
off of
normal
my just the way we
conversation.
do it. I'm
Yeah.
like, I've been doing it for so long. I would like to think that I have most FAQs kind of like
Yeah.
worked into my whole. I don't want to call it a spiel because it's not sales per
Yeah, because
se,
you
but
go over all the details and
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so I try to hit everything. And if we do get a couple outliers, then like awesome. And I try to work those in, but sometimes for the most part we get, I don't know, maybe two or three extra questions on top of what we get. It is fine. Like you said, it's it's kind of it's kind of worrisome when people are like, "Nope, that's good."
Yeah.
Because you leave the call and you're like, "Well, did I suck? Did
Yeah.
did
Like
was
what
it
was that?
like
Yeah.
did I
It is
miss
funny.
everything?" But that's my biggest take from that is just ask questions.
Yeah. Day of as a videographer, what's the process look like when you're like part of it working with the photographer? Because we do often like, I mean, we're like hip to hip with the photographer for the
Yeah.
full day, pretty much. What's that process look like? And then even just like, are you kind of like unobtrusive? Are you kind of like fly in the wall? Are you like giving some direction, moving people around a little bit? Like, what's your process look like?
Yeah, so I stand directly in front of the photographer the entire day.
And they continue to recommend you to all other
Yeah,
couples.
yeah, no, especially during the kiss, I stand right in the middle of the aisle
And a
the entire
tripod's
time.
behind them, so they trip over it on the way
Yes,
back.
I am the biggest pain possible on the day of. No, I'm kidding. To be honest, I try to be out of the way. Um, We're usually now during prep. Prep's a little different because there's only one camera during prep. One's with the bride, one's with the groom.
Hmm.
And so for the most part, we're probably shooting. Photographer's got the main angle. I can make this work, or I can make this work, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, or if I need something specific, I'm like, hey, can I, when you're done there, can I snag that?
Yeah.
And I'll say to the makeup artist, like, hey, can you just do that again real quick? A lot of videographers, I don't think are vocal enough about getting what they need.
Yeah.
And I think that shows in films. But I'm so chill during the day that I literally am like, I can make anything work, right? So I'll be next to the photographer or over top of the photographer, below the
Yeah.
photographer.
Like, hey, I'm over your shoulder right now. Tell me.
Yeah. So, and I always just say, like, hey, if you need me to move them in your way, just kick me, elbow me, punch me, do whatever you need.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big guy, I can handle
I
it.
can take it.
But like beyond that, during the ceremony, what I'll try to do is the way I look at it is I have 3 cameras. They probably have one, maybe two if there's 2 of them. So and we're always rolling. So I can always like if they happen to be in a bad spot, I just cut to it. But I always just check with the photographer and be like, hey, this is our setup. Does that mess with anything you're trying to do? Usually it's nope, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
The back of the out camera is the biggest
Yeah.
issue
Because they want
all the
a
time.
wide.
They want that wide. And so sometimes I'll have a photographer say, hey, can you remove that for like 5 seconds?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure. I
Yeah.
don't like it, but sure.
Also, I've had more photographers be like, "Oh, don't worry about it. AI can take it out."
I know.
It's crazy what they can take out.
I know. And
But still, yeah, there's just that one little hiccup.
it's usually that. Or I'll try to be like, hey, I'll say like, hey, my camera is shooting from like this seat, or during the ceremony when I can actually pinpoint a person.
Oh, gotcha.
I'll pull the photographer like, hey, my camera is like to that guy in the red shirt with the hat.
So go that far
So
up.
anywhere beyond that, you're going to be in my shot. So just keep that in mind when you're shooting. Just don't stand in the middle of the aisle if you can help it.
Yeah.
Because when the bride comes down, I'm shooting like if there's an aisle, I'm shooting like off the corner of the one side
From behind.
so
Yeah.
that I can use the guest as like a guiding line framing. I know I'm talking kind of geeky here, and bride's like, I don't care, but
Generally, they don't.
other videographers, as long as it looks good, we don't care.
Yeah.
But other videographers, I'll use that as a guiding line and frame in my groom, and then the other side will come in part way, and that frames them, and then boom, they're there. So then I know that my photographer that's up front, not mine, but the photographer that's up front
Yeah.
is shooting this way typically to not be on the groom side. So I'm missing them completely. They don't see my camera. They see the bride. He sees the bride. Everybody's happy.
Everyone's good. Yeah.
And then everybody's settled. They're up front. My camera goes in the middle. Everybody's pointed out where we're at. But, we get along with just about everybody.
Yeah.
99%.
You kind of have. I mean, it's going to be a really bad day if you don't.
Yeah. We've had
The
situations where
couples
we
might
don't,
not know, but it's for us. It's going to be a bad day if we're not go with the flow.
Yeah. We had one where like I don't know if the photographer's just like anti-videographers or what.
Well, I will
Or if
say
they've been scorned.
they've been. Yeah. I think there's a lot that have
Yeah.
had bad experiences.
Yeah. And you can always tell. That's why I try to get there before them.
Yeah.
Because if they're already
Hey,
there
welcome.
and you show up, I'm
Yeah.
always like, hey, nice
Come
to
on
meet
in,
you.
Yeah.
But if you show up and the photographer's already there and they're like, you can always you can see it.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty good at reading people really, really well. And so I see body language that says like, I'm not excited about you being here. I try to let them know that like I've been doing this for like ever.
Yeah.
And then it usually seems to calm the nerves. And usually by ceremony time, we're best friends.
Yeah.
Usually.
Hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully.
There's only been one. I won't say her name, but one in 12, 13 years. Like that's pretty good.
Well, Tyler, it's been great having you on, hearing all of your insight. I hope everyone that's listening also got a ton of value
I hope
from
so.
listening to everything that Tyler's been through in business in 13 years. is a crazy long time. I hope
Yeah.
that I can make it 13
I'm outlasting a lot of people. I feel like a dinosaur
Yeah.
sometimes, you know. I just said to the photographer this past weekend, she's like, you're one of like the only ones that are still left.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing
Oh, yeah.
or not. She's like, a lot of people are getting out. She goes, I think we're gonna soon be looking at, exiting. I said, well, save me a spot
Save me a
because
seat. Yeah.
it's coming soon. But yeah, like I'd like to hang in there for a couple more years.
Yeah. Where can people find and follow along with the work that you're doing?
Yeah. So our website is strataweddingfilms.com and Instagram Strata Wedding Films. No crafty underscores or anything like that.
Yeah.
So very straightforward stuff.
Yeah, so definitely follow along. Tyler does great work. His films are fantastic. That's coming from a videographer for what that means for anyone listening. But I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode of The Preferred List. That's all for this episode, and we'll catch you guys next time on The Preferred List.